So class, today we are going to study what is ventricle and what is cerebrospinal fluid of the brain. So class, if I tell you what is ventricle, in the brain there are spaces present, okay, and that spaces in the brain, it is called what? Ventricle. Again I am saying, if you all see the brain inside, okay, you always see that between the convolution of the brain or there are certain spaces present, and that spaces are called the ventricles. Okay, so I would like to project you all that how many ventricles are present in the human brain. Okay, so ventricles are 4 in human scale. Okay, you all can see that the first and the second ventricle, they are lying opposite to each other. Okay, and this first and the second ventricle are connected with the third ventricle by a space, by small hole, you all can see here, that is called foramen of Monro. So this is a very important question of the Madhyamik. What is foramen of Monro? Foramen of Monro connects the first and the second ventricle with the third ventricle. Okay, so this is the point of connection by which these two ventricles are connected with the third ventricle. Okay, now the third ventricle, it is connected with the fourth ventricle by a narrow tube like structure, and that is called iter or aqueduct of Sylvius. Okay, so again I am saying, in human there are 4 ventricles, 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the ventricles? These are the spaces present in the brain. The first and the second, it is connected with the third ventricle by a narrow hole. Okay, this is called the foramen of Monro. The third ventricle is connected with the fourth ventricle by a narrow tube or hairline like structure, that is called iter or aqueduct of Sylvius. Okay, hope so you have understood what is ventricle. Now the very important part, it is choroid plexus. You might be thinking, what is choroid plexus? So if I tell you, the choroid plexus, it is a mass of capillaries. You all know blood capillaries. So in the brain, this spongy mass of capillaries, which is surrounded by the ependymal cells, okay, are located on the floor of the lateral ventricles. So these are the 2 lateral ventricles, and on the floor of these 2 lateral ventricles you have what? You have the choroid plexus, and these are surrounded by ependymal cells located on the floors of the ventricles. You all can see here the ventricles which are present here, right? And on the roof, so it is present on the floor of the ventricle and on the roof of the third and fourth. So these are the 2 lateral ventricles, and it is present where? It is present on the roof. You all know roof and the bottom, the top. So on the third ventricle, so exactly the location is here. Okay, ependymal cells have given a short description. This you don't require it, but yes, you all should know it. What is ependymal cells? Ependymal cells form the blood of cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, so these ependymal cells help in formation of the cerebrospinal fluid, and it acts as a barrier between the ependymal cells. Okay, prevent the neural tissue from being exposed to the blood. So this ependymal cells does not allow the brain cells to come in directly with the blood. You always see that blood going to the brain. Okay, this is a detailed part, but when the blood you always see the lymph vessels. Okay, they are the much more minute than and this cerebrospinal fluid, it connects as a connection between the blood and to the brain. Okay, so this cerebrospinal fluid absorbs the nutrition from the blood and then transfers to the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, so what is the use of this cerebrospinal fluid? First of all, it gives buoyancy. Class, the heaviest part of your body is the brain, and because of this cerebrospinal fluid, it provides buoyancy. It means you feel that though the brain is the heaviest part of your body, but you never say that yes, my brain is too heavy, I cannot move because of my heaviness of the brain. Why? Because this cerebrospinal fluid provides buoyancy. Second, it gives protection to the brain and the spinal cord, and thirdly it gives chemical stability. How? If you all remember, just now I told you that cerebrospinal fluid absorbs the nutrition from the blood and transfer it to the different parts of the brain and the spinal cord. and so it maintains the chemical stability and removes the waste from the, okay, so not only it absorbs the nutrition, but from the brain it carries away the waste and transfer it to the blood, and then blood purifies it and again transfer it to the brain. Okay, so regulates the chemical environment of at the neuron. So these three are the basic properties: buoyancy, protection, and chemical stability. So thank you, class.